going to... Good day. I am finding Cthulhu, and I've decided I'm going to do a character from level 1 to around level 70-ish and into mapping maybe. Just playing Ranger and going through the process of explaining bosses, how I build a character, that type of thing. Mostly to help out new players. I'm not a professional build maker. I'm not, you know, super crazy at like min-maxing stuff. I just kind of figure things out as I go along, and I'm pretty good at making it work out. So without further ado, let's get on to the beach.
Hunt her down! Quickly now!
So, right away into the genre, you pick left click, or you can move with left click, or you can move with WAS. I prefer WAS because the game feels like it was designed for that.
You're alive!
With spacebar being
I'm glad
dodged and
now. I
things
would
like that.
appreciate it if you could.
It's key. Very unfortunate for him, but I get a weapon.
Clear fell. Find.
In my sights.
The first area of the game is the beach. There's nothing really dangerous here. You're just level 1, so if you do let yourself get hit somehow, it does hurt a lot. So that's it. Quiver. Quivers go with bows. Bows are two-handed weapons technically, but if you go to like the passive tree and type in like two-handed weapons, like this node, this will not work with damage to two-handed weapons. So just keep that in mind. They're technically two-handed weapons, but since you have a quiver, you can't take two-handed weapon nodes. At least as far as I know, unless they've changed it. This might get outdated at some point. Just be aware. Unless
Another string
I don't
to my
think they
bow.
will. It doesn't count like that PoE1. I don't see why they change it. First skill is lightning arrow. Shoots a pew.
Unnatural, but effective.
Alright. Checkpoints restore health, mana, and potions. Not really concerned with using the skill because it's got into its easy ways unless it's lightning arrow is like primarily a clearing skill. Use it for clearing like lots of enemies, so you don't really use it for doing a bunch of damage to one enemy. I'm not really speedrunning or anything like that. We're just going through the game. So sticking in nice and easy. There's our first check.
You there? Please, hey.
The journey is not been kind to you.
And charge. Slam. Very easy to dodge. You can summon some guys. The game will tell you like, oh, you're rolling mana, you press mana potion, that kind of thing, to make sure you understand what's going on. I don't think they would turn it off at the unfortunate. If he hits you with the card, you can get stunned by it and take a lot of damage.
Fury!
That's the most dangerous thing he does. The big set I've never died to him. So there's not really too much to explain with this boss because he's kind of pretty easy. Unlike Dark Souls when you're not meant to die to this guy.
And survive. Man or beast, they die the same.
Just pick up everything. Just sell it. Gold. Let's see. Want projectile damage. You can go either route. Evasion's fine if you want. If you're like wanting to be a little bit more cautious. Nothing wrong with taking evasion. Projectile speed and attack speed is okay.
Well done.
Not really concerned with taking too much damage early, so I'll just take damage just to clear things a little bit quicker.
Ren,
For skill gem,
there's a bit of
skill gems.
channel your violence against this
We want
devourer,
lightning
as
rod, I
Finn
think.
calls it. We'd be indebted to you.
I've played a Pathfinder already, so I think I want to try a Deadeye, and I think I probably want to do lightning.
Lightning rods stick into the ground after impact.
Okay, this is just Storm Rain.
Any chaining lightning.
Yeah, seems like it's just Storm Rain from Path of Exile 1. That's cool.
Anything take your fancy?
Sell this, identify this. What was that? This is a fresh run, so I'm not using any like gear that's pre-stored or anything. This is SSF, I won't be trading.
Tools of the
It's
forge turned tools of war.
Welcome.
more beneficial to, in my opinion, to learn the game this way, just because you kind of have to go through everything and learn how to get gear yourself, what gear is good, what to look for when it drops on the ground, that kind of thing. Whereas if you just buy all your gear, you're not really looking at, you know, upgrading your character slowly, incrementally over time. You're kind of just getting to a certain point where you can equip really strong gear, buying it, and then moving on. Which, if you want to play that way, is fine. Upgrade everything. Vile hags in this area, the first area of the game. They can be kind of dangerous. The AoE they summon does do a decent amount of damage. And they revive the little imps. Let's find lightning rod here. Lightning rod is more of a single target skill, so I probably won't really use it. In Clearfill, I always go right first because there's this camp here, but there's a checkpoint, some guards. It gives you another skill gem. I don't really have anything I want this for, so let's take escape shot just to have it. I mean, it's kind of mediocre. I mean, escape shot has a high freeze chance, but it's, what I remember anyway, it just doesn't really get much damage wise. So if you don't scale, if you're not scaling anything to do with freeze, then it's not going to freeze stuff for very long in the game. It's fine early though, for defense, if you really need it. Then you go left, and looking for, a waypoint. This will let you teleport back to town at a checkpoint. So the Mud Burrow is where the Devourer is for that quest friendly. So if you want to go kill that, which we will do in just a minute, but I want to kill the boss here first.
You have no time.
Trying to kill as much as possible
My survival is no scope.
This is harder to do on melee classes. Not as easy. This is something that you should probably try to do on range classes, just because the more you're moving forwards, the more you're like making progress. Obviously, don't aggro like the whole screen at the same time, or you'll be in trouble. Reach the boss of this area. Kill everything around right now. A lot of the bosses in the story, they have an area like this where they can they don't move outside of it, but you can kind of kite out to use a potion, or in this particular instance, she summoned like undead wolves to chase you, so you can kite them out here and kind of deal with them before. Checkpoint. Railwood. Come back to that later. Then we'll go ahead and fight her. This boss does a couple things. I 6 value. Again, kind of dangerous. I would advise fighting her like pretty much every time. If you're soft forward like this, you can let fight her as much as you want as they can fight her. She summons like little ice traps in the ground. The ice wave. Which aren't too big of a deal if you have a decent clear skill, but again, if you need to, you can always kite them back out to get away from her while you do it. The reason you want to do this boss is Head of the Winter Wolf gives you Cold Resist as a permanent upgrade for your character. Very good. Don't really want any of that. I wouldn't really recommend picking up stuff that you don't want unless you're really strapped for cash, which we kind of are, but I'm not gonna stress about it. The farther you make it in the game, the more gold drops, so stressing about gold super early, unless you really need it to respec your character or using a mistake or something like that, I wouldn't worry about. It's not like important enough, you know. Mudburrow has some pretty dangerous enemies in it early, I guess. Like, these things can poison you, that's kind of annoying. Also some like little enemies. These big mud guys, you can't roll through them. You can roll through like smaller enemies, like these little bugs, you can roll past them. The big mud guys though, you cannot roll through them if they're like in your way. So you have to just deal with them, which isn't too hard. They're like, it's the second zone of the game, so it's not like it's super crazy. It's just they do hit pretty hard if you actually let them. And it's kind of easy to get close to them where they can't slam you and you stay behind them. That's honestly the secret to most like big heavy enemies in the game. Just get behind them and stay away from them so you can dodge their attacks easier. I mean, even as a ranged character, it's easier to just do that, but sometimes, depending on like the layout of the area. And we're just running deeper. Usually find the Devourer like somewhere to like the north of this, which is why I'm heading this way. The Devourer is usually in this area somewhere to the north, like over here. So, not too bad. Need a helmet. There. Can go ahead and equip that. This intelligence isn't going to help us, but yeah. Oh well. A little bit of mana is fine. One of these has like, one that's sitting in one walls. Okay, just that. Alright, and we're moving right along. Not much to say about the enemies in this game, or enemies in this area, I guess. They're kind of simple with basic skeletons, some little bugs that shoot poison, some mud guys. Not too crazy. Checkpoint, so this is the Devourer. The Devourer is a fight that some people seem to struggle with early. But he's really not too bad. As long as you respect his slam. He does avoid the ground like where he slams. You can see it's kind of green, it's hard to have a little hard to see. But this is how it is. But sick close jump, he does these little swipes, very telegraphed, very easy to see. He slams the ground, he's gonna keep on the ground.
To be done.
Okay, club's not for us, but we'll take it for now. We'll take this because now, I mean, you're pretty much your only option is to go back to town. There's not like an easy way to get back to the beginning of this dungeon, which I would recommend anyways. You can turn in that quest. Create portal, go back. So this, I'm gonna save because you can disenchant this, or I'm gonna do it has a socket. So things with sockets you can generally turn into. If it has a socket in it, you can take it later after you unlock it to a bench right here, and break it down to give you a currency that will let you put sockets onto things. Sockets are pretty important later in the game. Once you reach level 70 or so. Because you can cap out resistances with them. If you think you need to early, it's perfectly reasonable to do that. So you use them to cap out resistances pretty quickly. You can use them to make your weapons just do a bunch more damage. You use them for utility, all kinds of stuff you get for them. Honestly.
Lightning arrow chain.
So it's pretty good.
Now this.
So here you take down the Valra, support skill.
What would you love?
Sell these. Have 300, 400 gold. I'll take the bow with increased attack speed, honestly. I mean, anything's better than the one you start with, so we'll take it. It's not a big deal. Pretty good. Lightning arrow, we want... Do we want single target? I don't really feel like I'm struggling with clear right now. I think I want single target. So, at this phase, when you start thinking about support gems, it's really easy to get kind of confused because, you know, you see this big old, you know, menu of just, oh, there's a bunch of stuff. Well, there's 3 tiers of support gems, 1, 2, and 3. You won't get 2 and 3 till pretty later in the game, so don't worry about this stuff later, or like early, worry about it later, and just kind of go, well, if I'm using lightning rod to help me with single target, that's good. So, or lightning arrows for clear. So I can make my clear better, or I can make my my boss damage better. So right now, I think there's not a whole lot that I would want to do here, other than just go ahead and get scatter shot. I think I want pierce on lightning arrow later, or maybe chain. Chain probably would be better, I think. But if it chains, then the second chain will do less damage. Pierce, if it pierces an enemy, the next thing it hits will do less damage. Scattershot, the skill will just do flat less damage. So you need to think about this. I wouldn't put this on something that's like a single target skill unless you are worried more about something else. With Lightning Rod, I'm putting it on here because it'll shoot 3. So the thing with Lightning Rod is if it shoots I'm worried about the explosion it creates, not necessarily the damage. Because if I go and all three of these little hits, when it comes down, it overlaps, and when I shoot something with lightning arrow, it pops all of them at the same time. So I can put down way more at a time. If you notice during the Devourer boss fight, I only had like a couple on him at a time. But with that, you can get a lot more. So the 20% less damage is honestly super ignorable with this type of skill. With lightning arrow, it would help clear, but I don't really struggle with clear anyways. It's more just
I shall overcome.
single target right now that I want to get locked down. This is the Grellwood. There's a couple dangerous enemies here, like these guys. They run really fast and they do like a lunging attack at you. That can be kind of annoying, especially if it gives you like a group of magic ones. They can be kind of dangerous super early. And these zombies are really slow. They're not really threatening like when they're alive, but each of them when they die has a chance to blow up, and they do some pretty hefty damage with that. So, I mean, honestly, just pay attention to them, and just be aware that if you see like these funky looking zombies, then you just need to like kill them and either get away from them or just give them a second to make sure they don't pop. They do like this little wiggly animation if you watch them. So there's several things we need to do in this area, because this area branches off into a couple different ones that let us go to different places we need to complete the story and get moving. You don't necessarily need to do this, but I don't have, these are lesser class. This will give you new ones that are medium. I don't have mediums yet. Pretty good. And you have to fight the bear enemy. This can get pretty scary. It kind of does do decent damage. It's pretty hard. It's okay though. Dot damage, hold over time. So she can be pretty annoying. The breath attack obviously hurts a lot. Not ideal to started helping her, but it happens.
An easy trophy.
She teleports.
Corruption claims another victim.
A little bit. There we go. So, we got uncut support gem now. Where he did lightning rod, so we'll go ahead and do chain as well. This will make clearing a little bit quicker. I'll go ahead and equip this because that's empty. I'm not gonna bother selling it because it just takes up space. It's unnecessary. Don't need it right now. Upgrade lightning rod. Let's see. This is a chest piece with evasion. I care more about the evasion than I do this. At the moment, anyways.
Meet your end. The roots have grown.
This is the way forward pretty much, but you have to do several things before you can actually go forward. The way grabbing the waypoint is just convenient. Yeah, they leave that little dot on the ground after they die. Sometimes, which
Thunderous shot!
I heard a lot here. Oh, my bad. Yeah, the only really dangerous ones are the ones that run at you. They can be kind of annoying. You can't iframe their attacks though. As long as you're dodging, okay. Get through. Everything else is pretty much just cannon fodder at the moment. So it's the running ones that don't really hit you. We just keep on moving. Not too bad. Or like the opposite end of the map, I guess, would be a more accurate term, because sometimes it's up here, but there's generally the other area. This is the waypoint for this area.
Has the tree
You can
not
summon
been
Una. She
killed
just tells
enough?
you to go find something to get these marks off the tree so you can help him down. He's still alive. But mostly we just care about the waypoint so we don't have to walk all the way back later. I don't need to be, you don't actually have to talk to the quest, so if you want to skip this part, you can. I just like having the waypoint, so I don't have to walk back. Area. He's usually, yep, right over here. So usually when you equip a flask, the reason I haven't equipped the medium one is because it'll be empty, right? So that's pretty bad. We don't want to just throw away all our flasks when we find it, whenever we find a new one. So usually I'd either wait till you go back to town and use the well, which you can. But for efficiency, I like waiting till I see a checkpoint and then checkpoint refilled for me. And it's more convenient for me that way.
Even the trees have become twisted with corruption. Storming arrow!
Bramble gas, pretty scary. Attack. All like projectiles walk through it. That slam right there is the most damaging attack. Little branches that either hit you or something purpley balls. Purpley balls are they're both pretty easy to avoid, honestly. The most dangerous thing is the slam, because it's kind of hard to get out of sometimes. Mostly because I'm just a really greedy player. He goes down pretty easy. Let's see, ringmail gauntlets, okay. There's a lot of evasion here though, that's pretty nice. So it's pretty nice that we get some early, so we can maybe get something kind of good. Obviously it's not going to be anything that we're going to keep long term, but we need something that's better than what we're currently wearing. Last thing to do in this area is grab this checkpoint on the far side. So if you look at the map, it'll kind of be on the far side of the area from Clearfell. It won't always be like this straight of a line. Sometimes it'll be over here, sometimes up here, but it's always going to be like over in this area. witch's hut will almost always be like somewhere down here or directly like right here. The Grim Tangle will always be on the opposite side of where the hooded one is. So it's going to be in the middle of the area, and it's going to be opposite ends. And if you get to one and you go to where you reach the boss, then you know the other one is back behind you somewhere. That's pretty much it. The levels are procedurally generated, but there are some things that say they're consistent, and that's one of the things to stay consistent is where like the events, I guess, or the points of interest are.
Remnants of man's folly lay scattered here.
Red Veil is where you fight the Rust King, and we'll get the quest item to free our floor. Tree. Couple enemies here. I guess there's more skeletons. Obviously, there's a ton of skeletons all throughout the game. Some of these are pretty shoot. Enemies that shoot are always more dangerous than ones that can't. Dangerous enemies are little plants. Bloom serpents is what they're called. Plant enemies, they shoot, get poisoned. They can do a lot of damage if you let them. At this point in the game, our damage is not super great, so we're just going to unfortunately be here a little bit because, you know, we don't have crazy clear speed or you won't really on any character until you have like something. I want to do this playthrough without leveling gear because leveling gear might give an inaccurate assumption of what like the early game is like. You won't have early game gear at the start of the so this is a accurate representation of what the game will be like when you first start. If you're planning to start like as a new player, your first character will always be kind of slow. Short bow, that's a different bow base type than the one we're using. We're using a crude bow. Short bow has a lot more base damage than the crude bow does. So when you're looking for weapons, see, even though this is 6 to 9, this one is 7 to 14. So even at the lowest roll of damage, we're doing more, and at the high end, we're really doing more. So this is accuracy and crit chance. I don't really care too much about either of those things early. I might keep that just to sell it. Replace our hat now. We don't really need this as well. I don't care about selling it because it's a white item. It's not really worth anything. Just trying to give myself more room. The boots. Don't want white boots. So lightning resist isn't the worst thing on the planet. Okay. Well, kind of gave ourselves a little bit more room to play with. Just in case we get anything interesting here. Scattershot on Lightning Rod is I can now use it to help with wards too because it has such a wide spread with multiple arrows. With one arrow you kind of lose where it can do that. At least in my opinion. It doesn't feel good to use as a single skill without multiple arrows. You can get multiple arrows other ways other than Scattershot, but early game is probably the best you're gonna do with arrows. We might switch it up later if I get like a bow with multiple arrows. Probably gonna take it as an ascendancy as well. get there when we get there. A lot of people will tell you, you know, as a new player, you need to download POV and just go ahead and like download all these third-party apps. And I kind of disagree. I don't like playing a game that has to have a third-party app. That's what I needed. I don't think it hurts you that bad to play without it.
Thunderous shot.
Unless like, you really want POV because you're like super mega concerned about, man, I need to min-max every aspect of the build before I play it. It just feels like I'm playing a spreadsheet, not actually playing the game. So it just feels a little lame. It's obviously a very popular tool, so I know that's not a popular opinion to state, but it's just how I feel. Nothing wrong with using it. It's basically just calculating. Feel free to use it, and if you want. I personally won't have, like, for any build I do, I won't have a POV or anything like that. Just don't have that,
Return
man.
to the
I
earth.
guess. So let's see. Basically, you just need to run around. We need to find 3 of those pillars. What's the other one? Touch them. It summons stuff. You kill the stuff. It drops.
Fury!
3 of them. Third one's on the boss. That's king. Go.
Seems someone refuses to let go.
We're moving right along. Oh, we only got 1 more left. That means the next one will be a boss, so we'll take better care and clear the area around it. Other mobs can and will take a lot
Rather
of
not break
interest
my
in
back.
what you're doing with bosses if they can. If a mob has like aggro to you, it won't like be aggro. It's not part of this game. So it'll take a pathing to get to you. Let's see. Is there any way I can squeeze that in? Okay. I'd advise pick up anything with sockets or anything that says superior, like armor, weapons. Like it'll say superior, like padded leggings. You can salvage all those that have been to give you quality currency. Your primary goal is getting during the story, at least. I mean, even if you have to go back to town a couple times in a really long sequence, like we're gonna have to go back to town here just to pick up some stuff from the boss. First of all, we won't be able to grab the quest item, I think. Which is fine. Maybe back to town anything. I want you back to all the way to where we need to go. Let's be clear here real quick, make sure there's nothing nearby. Okay, anything else over here? Nope. Nothing that I'm not gonna drag the boss that far, so I'm not really worried about anything over there. And this big intimidating tornado.
Take this!
We'll do these like basic attacks that you. That attack is like wave slam. That's the hardest hitting attack. You really do not want to do that. Or at least you don't want to do it hit you. It's the line of spikes that does damage. It's pretty hard. Dudes, we're just gonna stay close. Get behind him for the slam. Stay behind him for the slam, and we're done. Yeah, just
way into
just that
nothing.
easy, honestly.
Your
That
war
isn't
is
bad.
long over.
Yeah, can't pick any of that up, so I'm just gonna come back. First, we got tier 3 skill. So you get tier 3 gem. For gems, you can't obviously pick any of this stuff until later in the game. So you can just hover over and see this requires level 14 and level 6 gems, sorry, this requires level 5 uncut skill gems. This requires 7, 9, 11, and 13. So you can kind of just plan it. You can plan out stuff before, so I'm probably just gonna do lightning because I haven't done lightning yet in this game. So seems like it's probably pretty good. I've already done Poison Pathfinder, so I don't want to do the same build again at the moment. I could do Ice maybe, or Raw Fizz, but Raw Fizz doesn't seem like it has a whole bunch of support. Like, there's no reason not to go Element. I mean, because Bleed Bow isn't really a thing yet. It's a thing kind of in Path of Exile 1, but it's not really fleshed out too well. Or at least for Pathfinder, for Deadeye and Path of Exile 1, it's not very good. But so we'll go ahead and try this. So you
A
can
short
see a
time
video of it.
after a Stormcaller arrow hits a target, a bolt of lightning strikes the enemy with a high chance to shock.
Okay, so this is going to be like a primer. So if it has like a high chance to shock, then we can use that to go ahead and say, hey, you know, when we hit a boss with it, it'll guaranteed shock it. Shock is a debuff that makes it so you do increased damage to enemies. So it's really nice. So we can sit there and go ahead and use this to hit bosses and shock them really hard. And then we can just go ahead and spam Lightning Rod with like Lightning Arrow to detonate a bunch of times, do a bunch of damage. Should be pretty good. Now, we can't salvage stuff with sockets yet, so we're just gonna go ahead and keep storing that. Should be anything else here? Nope. Okay. Boss, the boots, these are better. Because they're rare. Rare is almost always going to be better than
anything take your
anything
fancy.
you're doing with
Till next time.
with blue items.
Hello.
Unless like the roll on the item is really good. I'm gonna disenchant this. This will give us crafting like shards of transmutations, which I value more than gold right now. Just because there's not really a whole bunch I'm looking for early. I want to keep these to see if they're better. This maybe. I can just go ahead and sell the rest. It's not that big a deal. We don't have any more Scrolls of Wisdom.
Bye.
And it's not really worth holding on to that stuff. Gloves, maybe, just because I want to see. I gotta set up. Oh, yeah. Go ahead and drag this back to where it goes. Right there. You can right click on these to have. These are different tabs. So when you start out the game, you'll have 4 stash tabs. I have several extra because I've played the game for a long time. I would not recommend buying them at full price. Don't do that. Buy them on sale. They go on sale at least like once or twice a month, I think. Every time there's a new league, they pretty much go on sale. For like almost guaranteed, I think. The ones I would recommend having are currency because there's a lot of different currencies in this game, and you want somewhere to store them. Fire damage, okay, it's not bad. So, I would always recommend having the currency tab, and then this is a waystone tab, but it's called a map tab in PoE 1. You're gonna pick up a lot of these in the late game if you want to play the late game. I assume if you go through the trouble of finishing the campaign, I assume you probably like the game, and want to do more with the end game. The end game is usually pretty expansive. Early access, it's not super expensive right now. I mean, there's still quite a bit to do, quite a bit more than most other games. So, you know, you can have plenty of fun, spend plenty of time doing it. It's pretty good all around. Can't wait for them to add more though, obviously. But yeah, you can set affinities. You can change like the color of the tab, pink, leave that purple, whatever. Essences, you know, make sure all this stuff is checked. Essences and gems are more just a preference thing. Essences I got for PoE 1. I bought all these tabs in PoE 1. I haven't bought any for PoE 2. Because in PoE 1 there's a lot, you pick up a lot more, but they're still useful in this game. Essences is the only tab I don't think is super useful in this game. At least not early. Like early game in PoE 1, I used essences a lot more because it upgrades the normal to a rare. Here you can get them, they upgrade normal to magic. At least I haven't gotten any like the super rare ones yet. But all these upgrade normal items, so white items to magic items, and they guarantee a certain like type of modifier, like, oh, it'll be a blue item, but it'll have, you know, fire damage or a fire mod of some kind. Which isn't bad, but it can kind of low roll you, or it can kind of give you like, you might be looking for fire damage, but it gives you fire resistance. So, they're kind of meh. Maybe they get buffed soon, or there's like more. Might be more to it. Change my mind about the buffs. Don't quite want them. So these actually might wear this if it's good. So I'll ID that. All of this other stuff is gonna be just salvage garbage though. Go back to the Grailwood. And you can summon Una. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. Whoops, no, not that. Back to town. So, when you have all three of the runes, you actually have to come back here to Renly.
Here I would have.
It makes you the spikes.
To the cairns.
Then you go back to Grailwood.
What happened here?
Put the spikes in the tree.
Good. Now the others.
Let's hope nature is listening.
He's in by.
Okay. Oh, you just... I don't know why I keep clicking on that. It looks like the town icon. Now she's here. You have to talk to her again. You cannot go to the next hub without coming back and talking to her. Now you can go back to... where's it at? Grim Tangle. In this area, you can go here, and... you can summon her.
If the Fae spirit.
She has her little singing voice thing. Very pretty.
The old magic
Okay.
still thrive.
Oh.
The way is open. Please, hurry.
Now we can go into the Grim Tangle. But we're going to do that in the next
was
video.
quite remarkable.
So, we're currently level 6. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. And I'll see you next time.